Is the sun going to turn into a black hole sun? Is it? Could it? Is our sun dying? Is our sun dying? Is it? Because something's going on. Something's going on. Is our sun dying? Is it going to turn into a black hole? So I ask, what would happen to the earth if the sun turned into a black hole? And it started talking. It started talking, you all, to me. If the sun, what would happen to the earth if the sun suddenly turned into a black hole? They get that question all the time. If you're imagining an earth spiraling toward the black hole sun, being spaghettified and other similar horrors, you're not the only one. The black hole sun. And this is really interesting, you all. It is. So is it going to turn into a black hole sun? It says, look at this, you all. Let me flip this around. I'm going to say hello. Let me flip it. I can flip it. I will flip it. Hello and good morning. So, the black hole sun. Is the sun going to die? They say it's never going to turn into a black hole. Why'd they make that song, Black Hole Sun? Little stars, like the sun, die in a different way. They'll burn up all the hydrogen in their cores, and then they swell into a red giant. Has the sun swelled into a red giant? Now has it? Is the sky red when the sun's rising? Is it turning into a red giant? Is the sun dying? Is the sun dying? And we're going to have a black hole sun. They said it would have to turn into a red giant. And then, the core and the outer layers would continue to expand. Somebody wrote me, Christine, her name was Christine. She said, Gina, the sun is awfully big when it's rising in the sky this morning. It's really, really big. I forget where she was at. It's just the other day. What do you think? I said, has it always looked that big? She goes, no, and I'm getting pictures from around the world that the sun is getting bigger. It's bigger. When it's rising up, my lips are chapped. Hold on a second, y'all. My lips are chapped. Hold on right there. The sun was rising. It was rising, and it was really big. And you can't look at it anymore. You know, none of us know, we know that we cannot look at the sun at all. We can't. If you're just tuning in, is the sun going to die? Is it dying? Is it going to turn into a black hole? Okay, is it? I'm going somewhere. I promise you, I am going somewhere with this. I am. You want to pay attention. You really do want to pay attention. I want to keep my train of thought. So pray for me that I keep my train of thought that's been put into my spirit, so I can keep doing this. Good morning, everyone. So you would have to swell into a red giant. These are different. This is the life cycle of a sun. At the end, it has to continue to expand, and at the end, the stars leave behind a very dense core. It's a so-called white dwarf, they say, surrounded by a shell of gas, a planetary nebula. They are dead remnants, and no nuclear fusion is happening in their interiors. You also, let's look at this. So, newborn white dwarfs are very hot. With time, these objects cool down and they become a black dwarf. And stellar corpses that emit no light or heat. And the cooling down happens so slowly that astronomers believe that not a single black dwarf has been formed, but a white dwarf and eventually a black dwarf is the future of the sun. A white dwarf and a black dwarf is the future of the sun and other stars you see in the night sky. Keep that in your mind. A black dwarf. It's the future of the sun, but they got to swell. They got to get so big in the sky. They do. So they say, imagine the sun did turn into a black hole. A black hole. The black hole sun. What would life be like? The black hole sun will not give out any light or heat. And so you had to prepare for a miserable, miserable existence, they said. Freezing cold and a pitch black environment. Okay, you won't be able to see the moon, the sun, the stars, and stuff like that. But there's good news, they say. Then they talk about the black hole. The black hole sun will be so small, like that. So small. The black hole sun would be so small. It would. Extremely small. And where am I at? The gravity-wise, we'd hardly notice any difference. Even if the sun converted into a black hole, converting into a black hole without the initial expansion or explosion, it'd be so tiny, so teeny, teeny, tiny. Teeny, tiny black hole sun. Okay, watch this. Watch it. Black hole sun. And you know we've taken pictures. We've seen on the live webcams the sun. It's got the little black hole in the center. When you're watching it go across the sky, it's a teeny, 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 tiny black hole. Black hole sun. Webcam. I'm going to try not to look at the comments because I don't want to give up my train of thought. Isn't that about right? I want to find an image of it, and I'm not going to be able to. But you know what I'm talking about. You do. You know what I'm talking about. Let me just do this right here because we've done it ourselves. You see, remember on the live webcams, you see that little black hole that's right there by the sun? Right there, that little black hole. So, according to this, even if it converted into a black hole without the expansion, it would be a small one. Black hole sun, small one. It'd be tiny. Black holes are about mass squeezed into a point of infinite density. Okay, infinite density. Let me see this. We can look at this too, you all. We're going to look at this. So what if our sun turned into a black hole? A black hole sun, you all, really. It's something to think about. I'm not done yet. I'm going somewhere. I promise you I'm going to go somewhere. But I got to get over here to NASA. I got to remember, Gina, which one of these. So one of these had like a black thing on them. And I can't remember which one it was because they changed the stuff so many times. They do. Oh, okay. So say we got a black hole right here. What the sun would have a tiny black hole in the center like that. You ever ask yourself why you got that right there? Is there something you don't want us to see? Really ask yourself. Is there something they don't want us to see about that sun? I remember watching a video. It was around 4 years ago, and they had NASA scientists and all these other people talking about a dying sun. A dying sun. They did. It was pretty cool, too. I thought, wow. So the hole, they said, the Earth would have, in order for that to happen, you all listen to this, the Earth would have orbited a solar mass black hole just as currently it orbits the sun in order for the sun to turn into a black hole. That's what they said. The Earth will have had to orbited a solar mass black hole. Well, there is a black hole that is growing and expanding that was just in the news. It's growing and expanding. It was in the news, and I'm sure you heard of it. Black hole expanding. Let me type it in really fast. I know it was just in the news, you all. I heard something about a black hole expanding. Right here. Well, they're talking about black holes. They are. They're talking about the dark energy. They say the black holes are causing something. They're expanding the universe. Monster black holes. Monster black holes are the source of dark energy. So the sun, the Earth, would have orbited a small black hole just as currently as it orbits the sun. So you would have something, the case of the event horizon would be small. You'd have a small black hole sun. It would have the radius of about 3 kilometers. So a planet orbiting more than 3, if a planet was orbiting more than 3 kilometers from the center of the solar system, it would be safe. Of course, you may argue the sun does not spin, so you will, and so will the black hole. So that's right. So that's what happens with that. But listen, is there life on the planet with the black hole? Look, they're going to tell you you got to go underground. Living things on Earth, even though it will stay on its current orbit, it won't be a picnic. The temperature on Earth will drop. The surface water will quickly freeze. Photosynthesis will cease. Plant-eating species will die out. Humans might have to survive underground using geothermal energy. They just might have to go underground using geothermal energy. So you don't fancy living underground? You'll be surprised to hear it becomes increasingly popular these days, even with no threat of the sun turning into a black hole. Look at that. Turning into the, look, with science on our side, we might be able to survive living near the black hole sun, maybe. So they're talking about a black hole sun. Could it happen? Could the sun turn into a black hole sun? Well, they say in one instance, it could get really small like that, a black hole, and it could be swelled to be a great big giant. But look at NASA. Look at this thing from NASA. The sun would need to be about 20 times more massive to end its life as a black hole. And the stars that are born this size can expand. Well, it would have to be 20 times more massive. Where was we at, you all? 20 times more massive. Would this right here be 20 times more massive than this right here? Let's see if we would do 5, 10, 15. It had to be more than 20 times more massive. It really would. 20 times more massive than the black hole. That's what NASA has said. So, and it would have to have collapsing it. So larger than, and it can explode into a supernova before collapsing back into a black hole. So we got that. Then look at this right here. I was thinking, they got this thing right here in front of the sun right here, this great big light. Remember this great big light? What if this is the sun back there? Really? What if this is the sun and the sun is a massive, it's expanding, expanding, expanding. Really, what if it is? It is expanding so much. And it's enormous. And because when the sun goes, really, truly, when the sun is rising in the sky, it literally looks like it's got wings. I mean, it's massive. And what if that is truly the sun? And this thing in the center is hiding something. And they don't want us to know that, hey, the sun is expanding. It's going to go turn into a black hole. What if? What if, you all? Is it plausible? I would assume anything is plausible because, you know, it's awful dark. You know, you've been up there looking at the sky when this big thing gets in the sky, and it is very, very black. It is a black. And then you got the products that have you have the live webcams, and they show a black hole in the center of the sun. And people say, oh, it's just a digital artifact. There is no black hole in the center of the sun. But there is. There is a black hole in the center of the sun on a lot of these cameras. There are, you all. Let me see this, you all. If I can get this here. Let me see this. Let me put this back to me. I want to see if I can search my own channel. I want to show you what I'm talking about. Because really, what if the sun is kind of like dying? What if it is? I'm not even able to search out my own pictures on here like I want. I'm not. They don't want me to do it. That's about right. Okay, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to try to find it because they have rearranged everything. Um, that's okay, you all. It is. So, look. How and when will the sun die? What is happening to this page? They have forecasted when and how the sun will end, and as well as what it will look like. Okay, they already forecasted it. How it's going to end, what it's going to look like. It governs the weather, the oceans, and stuff. 4.5 billion years ago, the sun began to take the shape from a molecular cloud. Okay, it's about 150 million kilometers. In about 5 billion years, the sun is due to turn into a red giant. Well, what if it's already turning into a red giant? So when a star dies, it's going to eject a massive giant gas and dust. Dust. No, I'm not looking at that. Mass of dust, you all. But you got the black hole sun. You got these cameras picking up something black inside there, and there is we've documented it so many times on this channel, the black hole, and people have seen it on the live webcams of the sun as it's going across. And then we've got the big halo in the sky. What if the sun, what if that really is the size of the sun and not no planetary system? And what if it's been doing this for a long time, but it's taken a long time for its inner core to like, because that's about the size, like a, like that. What if? Really think about it. If it was to turn into a black hole sun, and they said, well, it's life, you'll have to go underground, and it's not that bad. They said it's not that bad. That's what they said. It's not that bad underground with geothermal and all this kind of stuff. They know something's coming regardless. You may say, well, Gina, honey, it's a planetary system, but what if it's something much greater? Really, what if it is something much greater that is occurring on the earth? And why so many questions about it, really? Why didn't our sun turn into a black hole? Will our sun become a black hole? Why did they do a sun? Why did they do songs? Why did they even ask 20 times more massive to end its life? Well, that looks 20 times more massive. It really does. It does. 20 times more massive right there. And then if the poles were to flip, well, perhaps the reason could be maybe the sun is dying, and that's what's going to cause all the change in temperature. This is another theory. The sun is dying, and they don't. Oh, now we got a ring around the moon too. So what's up with that? Do we got artificial things in the sky? Do we? See, that's something too. A ring around the moon. Ring around the moon. What is going on this earth, you all? Really, what's going on? Ring around the sun. A sun halo. Well, it just so happens to look the same as the moon. We got a moon halo and a sun halo. So truly, something is going on, you all. There's something going on. And so if the, would the sun turn into